So another topic that I really changed my mind about recently is lurking. It really consists of multiple parts, so I think I'll just explain it first how it plays in immortal lobbies, which is probably about as close as it can get to playing out more or less correctly. Right, I think Radiants play it better, and obviously the pros played the best. So how it works out. So my previous opinion on lurking was that I was really underrating it. So I was thinking it's like, some off strategies that you're just putting on a like 2 times on each side, and then don't really consider it anymore. And as I was improving, I really started noticing how lurk timing works. So even mostly on attack rather. So for example, you're attacking from here, right? And you have all of this, you take control of a long, you push through long with your team, start getting this control over here, right? Picking all of this, your entries go in probably, and there is already a very nasty timing. Already just now, there is a timing that someone can pick you from here. And that someone, if they started B, they pushed like all the way to here with the gun out, and then they took the knife out, went through window all the way like into lobby, and by the time you really like clear under, your jet goes in, you really already need to watch this one, just like even if briefly. So that's kind of because I kept not kept, but sometimes there are games where I was like, okay, guys, let's go, let's enter site, and boom, I'm just dying from lobby. So I started thinking about it, like why does it happen, and why does it happen this way? So that when, for example, I'm on attack, I'm always thinking about the lurk, right? But when I'm the one defending, I rarely consider lurking. So it's like kind of like a one-sided perspective on lurking, right? So as a result, I started trying lurking on attack, and there are a few things that I found that I'm doing wrong. Also comparing it to pro play as well. So basically, one thing I came to be certain about is that you as a lurker have the responsibility to sync up with your team. So for instance, I'm playing A, right? Wherever I play, it doesn't matter. Even if I'm peeking here, it doesn't matter. Let's say I'm playing A aggressively like this, and I like to play aggressively. I like take control of a main, right? There is always like this main area. Not only on this map. I like to like peek here a bit, maybe for info, maybe hold this like off angle, throw bullets, go back. I think it's a very nice proactive way of playing that can catch some people off guard. So you're playing here, your teammates say it's C, right? You can go and look. There are a few variables to consider. Like there is someone who's playing anti-lurk, and I'll talk about it a bit later. So you probably should still go with like the gun out until a certain point. It's very difficult to decide when to run, when to shift walk. There are also like trips to consider, like this trip by chamber over here. And if they are going C, the trip is probably going to be around this box somewhere. Actually, I don't know where to put it here, probably. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. There is several things to consider. And Haven, in terms of lurks, is a bit of a unstandard map, I would say, which is why I'm using it, so that I don't have to switch to explain a few things later. But from the perspective of a standard map, as I see it, for example, Bind, even Fracture too, like the standard map is where you're holding something, you're holding some main, the callout is that they're on the other side of the map, and you just push this main and you have like a fairly like straightforward way to get in their backs, pretty much, right? In Heaven, there are other spaces to think about, but from the perspective of a standard map, this is how it plays out, right? So my main point was, like, when I just started actively lurking, I was recording myself, I was reviewing, like, what went wrong, what could have been improved, and I noticed that, you know, I'm lurking. Obviously they know my position. I started doing it fairly recently, I would say. Chamber was already in the meta, must pick every fucking map, never gonna get fixed. So there is always a trip. I kill the trip, they know that I'm lurking. And the mistake that I'm making is that I'm going for the duel. I'm a fairly aggressive player, even though I'm playing these like sages and smokes. I'm a very aggressive player, and I like to capitalize on my not mechanics, just, you know, like general like fighting abilities. So I'm lurking, they know I'm lurking, and I just keep on going. So for example, I kill the trip here, let's say, right? And I keep going, maybe I wait just a little bit to throw off the timing, but it's not the point here. So I keep going, I clear this, it's all clear, guys. I'm lurking, I'm clear this angle, it's all clear, guys. And I just keep going and going and going, and like at some point I pick them, take a fight, maybe kill one, and then die to the other one, or something like that, right? And I noticed that pro players, they don't really do that. What they're doing instead is they're taking, like, there are several like types of lurks. For example, one lurk the pro players do a lot, and I think it's also can be utilized by you just yourself because you're the only variable here. Is to play for containment. So for example, if I'm lurking, I come here, I hear the trip over here, I don't destroy it, I take some comfortable position, it doesn't matter which one, here maybe like this, you know, weird position. Maybe if I know that there is no one is in the garage, I can play like from here. And what you're doing is you're waiting for your guy in A to go through B to C, to go through spawn to C, like for like the pushing C, right? And everyone needs to gather like around here in garage and whatnot, right? And you're not doing anything. That's the idea. You're not doing anything, and if it says it's suddenly a fake, or for some reason they decide to rotate, suddenly you're here now. You have the advantage, obviously. You have the advantage of not being expected. You can also take some weird off angles, like it depends on the particular play and the map. So they start rotating, you kill one, maybe kill another one, maybe you have some util to stall them, like it becomes a really efficient thing to do. And like, yeah, the play here is to do nothing. So you're lurking and then you do nothing. But it doesn't always work. I think it may not even work even once in your games if you're lower rank than like Immortal. Because only in Immortal people starts like doing some sneaky stuff. Maybe like a bit lower, maybe Ascended now. They start doing like sneaky stuff like, guys, let's smoke here. I'm gonna take the orb as jet, right? And then with the knives, we're gonna go back, re-clear all of this area, push B or something like that, you know, some weird strategies. They start happening, and in those cases playing like for containment like this is very effective, I found, because it doesn't really require anything from you. You can just play like this, and if they start executing the site instead of going back and rotating out, you just continue like the normal lurk, you know, you just pick this, destroy the trip, go in, etc. So this is like part one of pretty much the same concept. So you're playing for containment, but really what you're doing, you're syncing up with your team, you're waiting, you're syncing up with your team, seeing what the enemies are doing, and then acting. As opposed to, as I explained earlier, you know, you just lurk, pick this, destroy trap, and just keep going, keep clearing everything. Do this slicing the pie thing, you know. I just can't focus on it because I'm speaking constantly. But yeah, you know the idea, like you just keep on going and going and going and going. And that's a mistake, I think. And the second part of the pretty much the same concept, you can keep going. You can clear this one. You can do this. You can take some more space than when you're playing for containment. Maybe even here. Like, it depends on the map where you're going to be standing. And then you're waiting for your team not to just gather somewhere and decide what to do. The spike is probably already down at this point, right? Like, when you go here, I usually, not on this map, but just for instance, I'm just playing for containment like this, fairly aggressively, right? And then spike goes down, this is my trigger that I should stop playing for containment and clear more. I clear more, go in, clear everything, I'm not gonna show it again. I clear everything, but I'm not peeking the site anymore. So they have the control over the site. They're probably playing like maybe here, maybe this, maybe this, this backside, doesn't matter, right? Maybe someone's playing on side too. There's a billion different points. But the thing that I wasn't doing, but I was always wary that someone will do, is that you should sync with your team. So this is smoked 100% of the time, right? And your team starts committing like sky smoke here, Sova dart over here. I don't actually know the good dart here. Let's say the dart over here. KO knife maybe over here to clear logs and site. They start committing util and you're still not coming out. You're still holding it very, 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 very close like this. Maybe you'll get a kill as well. It doesn't matter. Even if you do, even if you don't. They spot you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You should just simply stay alive, in my opinion. Is how I found it, at least. Not like I'm trying to cheat you. I'm just expressing my view on this. That's changed recently. So even if they spotted you, probably did because of this trip. Simply don't die. So when your team comes out, you kind of bait your team, you could say. They engage in combat and only then you start peeking. Because all of the enemies will be very, very distracted in fighting the main push, right? The main push, they may like overstep somewhere to take like an advantageous angle like this, you know? And this is where you come into play. You just try to punish them for setting up some kind of fights. For example, very common on this site in particular, someone is playing over here. The push comes out, they maybe peek like here, get a kill, if it's some kind of jet or something, and then jet smokes here and dashes out, right? And if you are playing from this position, it's simply a free kill, right? And if they don't come out, the guy is simply stuck over there. That's kind of the point. So, well, there's numerous benefits to this. I don't need to explain probably. But the thing here, the main thing, you're just waiting for your team to start the fight. You never go out of sync with them and take your own jewel and die, and your team is still, you know, preparing, gathering up some hero and garage, it doesn't matter. So that's the point. This is the two parts of this concept where you just work with your team and see how far the enemy goes. You contain. Probably you could call this containment as well, when you're just waiting for the team to start doing their stuff. And then you peek. So that's the important concept that I was trying to explain. Works on pretty much all maps. And all sides as well. So that's my second point probably. So you're playing on attack. What I like doing on attack, clear this one. Just a bit, just jiggle. Clear mid. Someone usually push, not usually, sometimes push in mid. And on this particular map, I just like to shift walk all the way, obviously I'm clearing everything, right? All the way to here and hold this kind of angle. Because if your team is going A, someone's gonna rotate like through B to A. If your team is going C, someone's gonna rotate anyway through this point, right? Either that or they're just gonna go through spawn. But if someone's going here, they're probably knifing you out, and you just get a free kill from here. You can stay however you want in here. There's like, this angle is probably also okay. I've never tried it, but it looks okay. So on attack, yeah. On this particular map you can catch people with lurking. This is also, I think, very crucial. I didn't realize that before. Just catch their rotations. And if it's a more like standard map, you just push the other side, and in this case you're waiting over here. Let's say somehow
Here.
this just doesn't exist, A-link, right? There's no threat from behind. You're just waiting in here. Your team is planting
Here.
C, and the enemies are gathering
Here.
up here, right? As per my example previously. And when these two teams start fighting, that's where you come out. It's pretty much exactly the same, except you're in attack right now. You're just waiting for your team to engage in the fight, and then that's where you, when you're lurking, when you're actually peeking. So yeah, my third point about lurks is on maps like this one, Haven. What else? Which other map I was thinking? Breeze, yeah, pretty much the same thing. And Ascent, also pretty much the same thing. So every map that has like a separate middle area, Breeze, Ascent, Haven, this kind of concept works. So on defense, you can push Heaven. On attack, you can also push Heaven. Or middle, I mean. On defense, you push middle, push out. The moment I started doing these kind of peaks is when I started winning so many more rounds on Haven and Breeze as well. Breeze you peak from double doors, pretty much the same kind of deal. Yeah, there's things to consider here. Here and there, you can probably even smoke this. You can ask someone to hold this. Like there's many different plays to take, to make, and the gist of all of them is that you just push in the middle. Every map that has the middle, you just push in, take some kind of position, and you just wait. And that's your lurk, yeah. You just wait for rotations. If they're pushing, you just do the more like traditional kind of lurk, you know, you just go in, knife out probably all the way here. There's a trip here, as always. And then you clear everything like from here, right? Probably not gonna play there, but yeah, you get the idea. So on every map where there is a mid, you can lurk through mid and then wait in some kind of spot to lurk somewhere else. So that's like your step one to lurking, and then step two, it depends on where they went. If they went here, you can just take some off angle kills and whatnot. Obviously, if you're like being way too aggressive and doing with this way too often, they'll start countering you, but it's something you can throw in like sometimes. Other times you can just lurk from the main, from this like secondary path. So like say main garage. Peeking from garage is also very, like it's very dangerous, but it's very, very high reward. For these same reasons, like no one is holding, okay, you just keep shift walking in, and now you have control over the spawn. Not really the spawn, but yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, these are 3 points that I wanted to bring up. First one is syncing up with your team. Second is doing the same on attack. It depends on the map, really. And third one is lurking mid on every map that has mid. I found this very, very effective. It's like part of the same topic, I guess, I suppose. Yeah, ever since I started doing that, it's very aggressive. Oh yeah, the other point I mentioned a bit earlier is someone playing anti-lurk. So in Immortal, people start playing anti-lurking. Not very, like, it really dampens the strength of the main force. So for example, main force going pushing C, and you're playing anti-lurk, oh, you're not pushing A, but you're playing like mid-control over here as an anti-lurker kind of thing, you know? You pick this garage, you can hold mid like this, you can hold it from this kind of box, you can go towards garage, like you're playing anti-lurk. This becomes very effective because not all lurkers go and lurk with the gun out. And on the reverse, this is why you should have the gun out when you're lurking. It's very like, the only real time when you should have the knife out is if you're, let's say, here, and there's a plant sound on A, and then it's most likely you should probably just knife out and just bring the weapon here. But yeah, and you can play anti-lurk yourself. Take note of lurkers, and if someone keeps pushing mid, someone keeps appearing on your back in long over here, play anti-lurk. It's kind of somewhat similar to playing default, you know, not in a sense how the entire team plays, but it's like as if you're playing default, you could say. It's simply just space control and playing for peaks. For picks. You're just controlling some space, not letting any lurkers in, catching the lurkers of God. And if the lurker never comes, you become the lurker. That's kind of the thing. You just push a different kind of thing, you know? Different direction to the side. Yeah, these are the points. I started winning a lot, especially in maps with mid. I found it's very important maps with mid. Haven used to be one of my weaker maps, especially after I ranked up from like Diamond, the previous Diamond. I was like spamming Killjoy, setting up the alarm bot here, and then playing one of the sides. So I'm like setting up on two sides, you could say. It just stopped working, and I couldn't find what to do exactly, and that was my missing piece. And now I'm picking a character that can lurk. Not all characters can lurk. Yeah, and that's it. You just push mid, take control over mid. You don't have to aggressively peek, you don't have to play for picks. Even the higher rank you go, the less important your lurk becomes when it comes to kills. So just, for example, in Immortal, just sitting over here is absolutely enormous value. When they go back through the A lobby, you know, they come here, do this like weird thing, couldn't kill anyone, lost one guy, go back. And you're sitting here, it's absolutely enormous value. Even if you don't kill anyone, even if you don't, even if you die without killing anyone, the thing is that you control the lurk through garage, and through B main. And that's already so much value, it's cannot be understated. Like, your people from C can just knife out into B, like very quickly rotate, or the other way around. People can just knife out everything, they don't have to check anything. Because when you're looking, as I explained, yeah, people just run with knife out, you just kill them. That's why they stop running with knife out in like Immortal-ish. They start at least like pick this one, pick a bit further, then the knife out kind of thing, you know? And that's where it comes to play. If you're controlling this much space on your own, your team can just knife out and do everything faster. That's kind of my point. One other thing I wanted to touch on is comms. Yeah, comms. If you're a low rank player, admittedly I'm smurfing sometimes, just to see how the game plays on other ranks. It plays very different. Like all of which I just explained relies on the fact that the guy who is standing C gonna tell you, yeah, it's C, it's a C push, fast C push, something like that, and only then you like, not aggressively, but how to put it, very, yeah, aggressively just lurk out, do everything here. But in low ranks, no comms, it's kind of normal, and you're on your own. But one thing is that lurks become much stronger. So if I go down from Mortal Ascendant right now, lurking is kind of difficult, but there is also a chance for comms. Logging is difficult because the enemies are simply not pushing. They can be standing here until it's like 20 seconds on the clock. So it's very difficult, and you need to like feel out the timings, whether they're pushing fast. It also depends on the team. Like one game, some teams just go in immediately. Other games, they're standing in this lobby for like forever. You need to feel it out, and you need to stop feeding. That's very important, because if they're heading in this lobby, you should never push through here. Absolutely never. Because you're pushing in a shit ton of enemies, basically, right? You should feel it out. Going down, current diamond, previous platinum guys, they really become so bad that you can probably just kill the strip and they won't notice it. Even though there was like an audio cue from chamber itself. Tripwire is down, was it? I think, yeah, it says tripwire is down. They may not notice it. You can start like more freely, like lurk everything, but once again, these delays become much more common. And one thing you can do, kill the strip and never look, just knife out, go back. And they will be standing in this lobby, Not lobby, long. It's
Here.
called lobby. It's called long. And look
Here.
at your lurk, and you will just never lurk. And by the time they uh, make their mind up and finally push the site, you're already gonna be here, and they will still think that you can lurk. That's the current diamond going down, current platinum, previous gold. I think from about that rank, current platinum or former gold, you can just lurk aggressively. It depends on your mechanics. If you're good mechanically, kill this thing and take all jewels that you can. It's pretty much, you're just gonna be setting up the jewels for yourself. And if you're not mechanically good and you still want to do this, you can play as I described for containment. You can just like stay over here at like off angle-ish, just jiggle it around like this. Someone comes, you just kill them and you can instantly just knife out because you know you control all of this
Here.
area, right? So you can instantly rotate out. This kind of gameplay. These delays become
Here.
very common. People, I don't know, the timer runs out, they're still
Here.
standing here. So once again, you shouldn't suicide. You should hold an off angle, play for containment. That kind of thing, in my opinion, if you're not mechanically that good. It's the value of you holding literally like half of the map, right? All the way, more than half of the map, 2/3 of the map. The value of this will be pretty much null in low ranks, from platinum and down, from the current platinum. But you should be able to take a few peeks, and even after you take a peek, like they stand here, you kill someone like this, but at the same time they start pushing or something, like you kill a guy here, and this guy will never tell his team that there is a flanker, so your flank is still undiscovered. You can just take another guy, and you should like capitalize off of this, in my opinion. Zero comms and people who are pushing the site,
Here.
who are not involved in your fight, they have no awareness of what's going on. They can't comprehend that there is another fight going on, and that's pretty much the gist of it. Anything below that, like silver-ish, gold-ish, I really can't tell. Like the mechanics are just so weak that you can do whatever you want, in my opinion. You don't have to look. You can, like, if there is a strong guy on the enemy team, yeah, I guess I would go off of that. Identify whether there is some strong guy on the enemy team, not necessarily by kills. Kills don't mean that much. They mean something, but not that much. Just take your jewels throughout the game. For example, if you start on defense, right, and then on attack, you know that there's like Sova. He's quite good. He's checking his angles, he may be watching your lurks. If you identify a guy like this, just don't lurk. Just don't play into him, avoid him, and kill the rest of the team from sight instead.
Here.
I think that would be my kind of advice, but yeah, most of what I described only applies when there is comms, when there is people who have enough awareness of what's happening, when these kind of trips
Here.
actually do something. Like you can walk through this trip over here.
Here.
If it's incorrectly placed, you can just do this and then jump up immediately like this, faster than I did. It doesn't matter. If it's
Here.
incorrectly placed, you can bypass the trip. It will trigger like 4 times, 5 times, but it will not go off ever. And it's just gonna get like red on the map, and there is like a tiny sound. And it's never gonna get discovered, like you'll be completely roaming free in here. So yeah, that's the idea, I think. Timing your lurks, yeah, that's very important, and it's such a simple concept. I never thought of this, and when I try to describe it, it sounds very, very obvious. Like, right, why would you keep on going with your push, taking all these jewels? Why would you do that when you can just wait for your team? You have the map.
Here.
You can see when they're starting the fight, and you can well, usually they play on side, right? You can clear this. Just stand here. Your team flashes out, then you peek all of these angles. There's an insane like crossfire over here. You can just probably kill this guy playing there. But yeah, very simple concept, very obvious. It takes 30 minutes to explain. sounds very obvious. Sounds like yeah, it's obvious what you were thinking until now. But for some reason, I never thought about it before, and it really improved my gameplay on all maps, but mostly on maps with the mid kind of lane thing. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about this.